In the blistering summer of 1837, a failed scholar lay dying in a dark room in southern China. Hong Xiuquan was consumed by a devastating fever, his mind fracturing under the weight of his own failures. But as his body withered, his mind soared. In a terrifying, celestial vision, he claimed to have ascended to the heavens. There, an old man with a golden beard handed him a sword, commanding him to purge the world of demons. When the fever broke, Hong found a forgotten foreign pamphlet on his desk, a tract detailing a strange Western religion. To Hong, it was the missing key. He wasn't just a man anymore. He was the second son of God, the younger brother of Jesus Christ. He took his message to the edge of the empire, to the jagged, desperate peaks of the Thistle Mountains. Here, among the starving miners and exploited Hakka peasants, his words spread like wildfire. He promised an end to oppression. He promised a world where land was shared, where silver belonged to all, and where the hated Qing dynasty would be wiped from the face of the earth. They called themselves the God Worshippers, and to prove their loyalty to the heavenly kingdom, they began to burn the old world to the ground. Ancestral shrines shattered, temples crumbled, and a fanatical army was born in the ash. By 1851, the sparks became an inferno. Armed with crude spears and long yellow headbands, an army of 500,000 peasants marched out of the mountains. They moved with terrifying speed, overwhelming local imperial garrisons. The Taiping tore through the heart of China, sweeping north along the Yangtze River Valley. The corrupt Qing military, rotting from decades of opulence, simply folded before them. In March of 1853, the rebels reached their ultimate prize, the ancient towering walls of Nanjing. In a brutal explosive assault, the city fell. Over 30,000 imperial citizens were slaughtered in the aftermath. Hong Xiuquan had his capital. From the blood-soaked streets of Nanjing, Hong proclaimed the Taiping Tianguo, the heavenly kingdom of great peace. But the peace he promised was built on total terror. Inside his massive new palace, Hong withdrew from public view, sinking into a life of extreme paranoia and luxury, while his generals enforced brutal puritanical laws outside the gates. Men and women were strictly segregated, property was confiscated, and any dissent was met with immediate execution. In the flooded palace courtyards, elite guards carried out ruthless night purges. The heavy morning rains would wash the blood from the stone tiles, but the terror remained. The paradise they had fought for had quickly transformed into a dark, totalitarian prison. And outside, the wolves were gathering. The massive disruption to trade forced a new player onto the battlefield. Western powers, Britain and France, grew terrified of losing their lucrative opium markets to a fanatical Christian cult leader. They threw their immense weight behind the desperate Qing emperor. British officers, led by the legendary General Charles Chinese Gordon, organized and trained a devastating counter-offensive force. Armed with state-of-the-art European iron artillery and modern steam gunboats, this new coalition began to slowly push the Taiping back. The tide of the war was about to turn in the mud. By 1864, Nanjing was completely surrounded. For months, the city starved. Inside the walls, citizens resorted to eating grass, weeds, and the leather from their boots just to survive. On June 1st, broken, diseased, and refusing to surrender, the heavenly king, Hong Xiuquan, died in his palace. His body was wrapped in yellow silk and buried beneath the courtyard. Outside the towering walls of Nanjing, an endless sea of imperial Qing siege tents choked the horizon, cutting off all hope of escape. 6 weeks later, the end arrived. Imperial forces detonated a massive mine beneath the city walls, blowing the stone gates entirely to pieces. The Qing soldiers poured into the breach with unrestrained fury. The slaughter lasted for 3 days. The heavenly palace was looted and burned to ash. Hong's body was exhumed, cremated, and his ashes were fired from a cannon so he would have no resting place on Earth. When the smoke finally cleared, the Taiping Rebellion was over. It remains the bloodiest civil war in human history, costing the lives of an estimated 20 to 30 million people. A devastating reminder of what happens when a fever dream turns into a holy war. And though the imperial dynasty survived the fire, its foundation was forever shattered. Within half a century, it too would collapse into dust. The heavenly kingdom was gone, leaving behind nothing but ghosts in the dark forest of history.